Hi everyone, Amanda from the Raw Food Kitchen here, and a lot of you have been emailing me after reading the Mind Body Green article I did on 10 reasons as to why you should try a coffee enema, with loads of questions. And the biggest question was, how do I actually do a coffee enema? So what I thought I would do is shoot a video for you on how I actually brew my coffee to do the enema. And then I'm also going to show you the enema kit that I use and give you a bit of a guided tour. We won't go all the way to the bathroom, but I'll show you how to actually put the coffee in the enema kit. So what I'm going to do over here on the stove is I've got some organic ground coffee, and it's really important you get organic coffee when you're doing a coffee enema. And you could do medium roast or dark roast, it doesn't really matter. And it doesn't really matter what kind of grind the coffee has been grounded into. So we can do 3 tablespoons of, I think this is a medium roast coffee. And then we're going to put in 3 cups of filtered water. And it's super important that this water is filtered. And if you can get slightly alkaline water, even better. So we want to make sure that this water is filtered from all the nasties, things like fluoride and chlorine, heavy metals, any of the bacteria that can sometimes reside in tap water. So you may have noticed I actually probably put in about 3.5 cups of filtered water. And the reason I put a little bit extra in is to actually compensate for the amount of evaporation when you're boiling this coffee. So now that we've got that mix in there, we've got the water and the coffee together, we're just going to turn the gas on and we're going to bring this to the boil. And then once it's boiling, we're going to simmer it for 15 minutes. I'm just going to give this a little stir now because there's some lumps in there. I just want to kind of get that nicely blended in. So once we've done that, we're just going to let this go for 15 minutes. And then once it's cooled down, we're then going to complete step 2 of the process. Okay, so now that the coffee has cooled down in the pot, we're going to strain it. So obviously we want to get rid of those coffee beans that have been ground down in there because we don't want them blocking the enema tube or making things a little uncomfortable when you go to do the enema. So I've just placed some nut milk bags in the Pyrex pouring jug here, and then I'm just going to gather the cords together at the top and then just gently squeeze out the bag so that all we're left with is the liquid of the coffee. Now this is quite a concentrated mix at the moment, so you really want to dilute that a little bit. So, you know, as you can probably tell, a lot of times when you have coffee you get a strong urge to go to the bathroom. So we don't want that to happen too intensely for you. So what we do is pour it out. I'm going to measure out 1 cup of the concentrate. And then I'm going to pour it out into a mason jar. So it's a really good idea just to have a couple of mason jars at home. Sterilize those in the dishwasher, and a really good hot rinse should work as well. I'm just going to grab another mason jar and pour out the other cup of coffee and pour that into my other mason jar here. And then I'm going to add, just to top it up, we want to add filtered water to the rest of the mason jar. So we have this beautiful filtered water again, which is slightly alkaline, filtered from chlorine and fluoride and all those other nasties. And then we're just going to fill it up to the shoulder of the mason jar. And then just complete this one here. And you can see here now we've run out of water, but what I can do is just show you, obviously this is the completed version. I've got another one that I've just done here earlier. These can now go in the fridge and you can store them until you're ready to do your enema. So these are brilliant. So you can just, do up the brew and then have a good supply to maybe do 2 or 3 coffee enemas a week. So when they come out of the fridge, obviously you don't want them to be freezing cold going into your body. It's a really good idea just to pop them back on the stove and warm them up to their body temperature, which is generally when you can dip a clean finger in and it's not too hot and not too cold. Then you can pull them back into the mason jar. And now you're ready to do your enema. Are you excited? I am. Okay, so this is a typical enema kit. This is one that I travel with actually, because it's really handy and folds away. There's plenty of online stores now that sell all types of different enema kits. So I'm going to give you a reference for one that you can check out later. But this is generally what they look like. They have a bag or a bucket at the top with a tube and an end to insert your enema into your body, into your anus. So what we're going to do now, obviously this has to be sterilized and cleaned every time. I always have a little bottle of hydrogen peroxide, maybe 3%, that I will rinse and put that in when I go to clean it afterwards with a bit of water. and also warm soapy water is handy too. So what we're going to do is just make sure that that is locked so it's not going to run through. This is warmed up, so we're going to pour that through the Enema kit, like so. So this makes about 1 litre or just under 1 litre, and this is probably a good amount for you, especially if you're a beginner. You'll find that when you actually do this for the very first time, you will get a very strong urge to go to the toilet. So I recommend even just doing half the amount first, release as soon as you get that really strong urge and you can't hold on any longer. And then you can go again, and you'll find that you'll be able to retain the second one or the second half of the amount for the 15-minute duration. But as you can see here, this is now poured in. I would want to bleed this line so that the coffee runs all the way through and that there are no air bubbles left whatsoever. If you find any air bubbles in here, you can just simply push the tube until the coffee rises up to the top again. Obviously, to bleed the line, you need to turn this on. So I do that over the bathroom, shower or recess. And then once it's bled and there's coffee from the top to the bottom, then you can hang this over the back of the door. Get down, it's really nice to put a towel down and a pillow and lie down on your right hand side, and then you want to put some coconut oil on the tube so that it goes in nice and easily. And then you just simply insert the tube and turn this on, and just keep an eye on the level and run that till it's halfway down. Then you can just obviously hold on for as long as you can. It's a really good idea to put your legs up against the wall, or if you're a yogi, it's a really great idea to sometimes do shoulder stand or some sort of back bend that allows the coffee to run all the way in. Now, the coffee enemas and enemas in general do not get to the entire colon. They do the lower half of the colon, which is why I love doing this sort of enema for maintenance. So colonics is something you should do maybe once a month, but these are great for in between 2 or 3 times a week. So legs up against the wall, shoulder stand and back bend, and really tighten those muscles around your anus and try and hold on for as long as you can. You may find you'll only get to maybe 5 minutes and you'll need to release. That's totally fine. As you progress with enemas, you will build up to the 15 minutes quite easily, and sometimes you can hold for 30. Now, the reason we talk about 15 minutes is so that you can actually allow the coffee to circulate through the liver 3 times, because the blood generally passes through the liver once every 3 minutes, I think. So that is it in a nutshell. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking this video is just, it's taking too long, or it's too complicated to brew the coffee, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. You can actually get coffee already pre-made and pre-diluted, and coffee that has a specific type of acid in it that actually is more beneficial for detoxifying and pulling those toxins out of the liver. There is a website called Enema Kits Australia. You can check those guys out because they actually sell these already made up, ready to go. I've used their products and it is amazing, really handy if you're a busy professional and you don't have a lot of time, or maybe you want to travel with the coffee. So really check those guys out. I'll put a link in the video below. I'm off to do the enema. Have a great day. Bye for now.